The sun shone brightly over the quaint village as the wedding day arrived. Excitement filled the air, and colorful decorations adorned every corner of the town. The bride, a joyful young woman named Clara, stood in front of her mirror, admiring her reflection. Her white gown sparkled in the light, and her heart fluttered with hope. Today was not just a ceremony. It was the beginning of a beautiful journey with her beloved, Ethan. Clara had dreamed of this day for as long as she could remember. She pictured walking down the aisle, surrounded by friends and family, to join Ethan in a lifelong promise of love. They had shared many special moments together, long walks under starlit skies and laughter-filled afternoons at the village fair. Their bond felt unbreakable, and Clara believed nothing could come between them on this perfect day. As she took a deep breath and stepped outside, she was greeted by the sound of joyful music and cheerful voices from their loved ones gathered at the wooden archway decorated with flowers. Clara's heart raced with excitement as she approached Ethan standing at the altar, his eyes sparkling with love. But little did anyone know that this happy occasion would soon take an unexpected turn. As they exchanged vows and celebrated their love, an unforeseen dark shadow loomed over their joyous day, a shadow that would change everything. As Clara and Ethan exchanged their vows, the air was thick with love and joy. Friends and family watched with eager smiles, but suddenly, a loud commotion erupted from the back of the gathering. Gasps filled the air as Ethan's brother, Marcus, burst through the crowd, his face twisted in anger and desperation. In an instant, he lunged toward Clara, grabbing her arm with surprising force. "You can't do this," he shouted, his voice echoing across the stunned crowd. The joyous atmosphere shifted to one of confusion and fear as guests looked on in disbelief. Marcus had always been protective of Ethan, but his feelings for Clara had turned into an obsession that no one had suspected. Clara's heart raced as she struggled against his grip. She realized that Marcus believed he could never lose her to Ethan. He thought they belonged together instead. In a wild moment of panic, he pulled her away from the altar and toward the edge of the village, leaving behind a trail of shocked faces. Ethan stood frozen in place for a heartbeat before springing into action, calling out Clara's name. But it was too late. Marcus had already whisked her away on horseback, disappearing into the trees lining the village. As Clara looked back at the wedding she had dreamed of all her life fading into the distance, a chill of fear washed over her. Little did she know that this kidnapping would lead to an unexpected journey home that would change everything. The sound of galloping hooves echoed in Clara's ears as Marcus rode deeper into the forest, pulling her close against him. Fear gripped her chest tightly, her heart pounding like a drum. The vibrant colors of her wedding dress felt wrong against the shadowy backdrop of the trees, and every rustle seemed to whisper that she was far away from safety. Once they reached a secluded clearing, Marcus finally slowed the horse. He dismounted and dragged Clara down beside him, his grip still fierce around her arm. Confusion clouded her mind as she tried to understand why he would do this. "Why are you doing this?" she asked, her voice trembling. Instead of an answer, Marcus only looked at her with a mix of desperation and longing. Clara felt the weight of uncertainty crushing her spirits. She could see anger and pain flickering in his eyes, but couldn't comprehend what he thought would happen next. With each passing moment, she knew she had to find a way out. As Marcus turned away for a moment, lost in his thoughts, Clara began to scan her surroundings, hoping for an opportunity. Her eyes landed on a nearby thicket, a place where vines intertwined tightly enough to provide cover. If she could just make it there unnoticed, she might have a chance. Gathering every ounce of courage, Clara took a deep breath and waited for the right moment to make her move back toward freedom. Thoughts of Ethan filled her mind as motivation surged. She had to escape and return to him before it was too late. As Clara scanned the clearing for an escape route, she noticed the horse that Marcus had ridden in on. It was a magnificent creature, all black with a shiny coat that gleamed even in the dim light of the forest. The horse seemed restless, shifting its weight and snorting softly, as if sensing Clara's unease. There was something familiar about this horse, something that stirred memories within her. This wasn't just any horse. It was Shadow, a spirited stallion that belonged to Ethan's family. Clara had often seen Ethan ride him through the village, and she admired his strength and grace. Shadow had a gentle heart, too, often nuzzling Clara whenever she visited the stables. A wave of hope washed over her. Could this horse be her ticket to freedom? As Marcus turned his back, still lost in his thoughts, Clara took a cautious step toward Shadow. The horse seemed to recognize her presence and turned its head, fixing its dark eyes on her as if urging her to come closer. Clara reached out a trembling hand, speaking softly to calm him. "It's okay, Shadow. I need your help." Feeling a flicker of confidence, she gently moved closer and whispered words of encouragement. If she could somehow mount Shadow and guide him away from Marcus, maybe she could finally escape the nightmare and return to Ethan. She knew time was running out, but with the bond they shared, she believed that together, they could find a way home. With determination fueling her every move, Clara took a deep breath as she approached Shadow. She could see Marcus wandering further into the clearing, lost in his thoughts and oblivious to her intentions. This was her moment. She knew she had to act quickly and decisively. Clara reached out and gently stroked Shadow's mane, whispering soothing words. The stallion nickered softly in response, sensing her anxiety and offering comfort. Clara felt an instant connection. If they worked together, they could escape this nightmare. With newfound confidence, she carefully assessed the surroundings for any obstacles. As Marcus turned his back once more, Clara positioned herself beside Shadow. She noticed a fallen branch nearby that could serve as a distraction. In a burst of courage, she swiftly picked it up and tossed it into the bushes on the opposite side of the clearing. The sound startled both Marcus and Shadow, causing Marcus to momentarily look away. Seizing the opportunity, Clara climbed onto Shadow's back with surprising agility. The stallion responded immediately, sensing freedom ahead. With a firm grip on the reins, Clara urged him forward and felt the rush of wind as they galloped away from Marcus and into the forest. As trees blurred past them, a sense of exhilaration washed over Clara. She was finally escaping. Every beat of Shadow's hooves echoed her hope of returning to Ethan, pushing her onward through the trees toward freedom and safety. Clara clung tightly to Shadow as they raced through the forest, her heart pounding with adrenaline. The wind whipped through her hair, and the rhythmic pounding of Shadow's hooves against the earth filled her with determination. They were finally free, but Clara knew they had to navigate their way home carefully. As they galloped deeper into the woods, Clara felt a mixture of exhilaration and fear. Suddenly, a fallen tree lay across their path, blocking the way forward. Without hesitating, she whispered to Shadow, urging him to leap over it. The stallion poised himself and effortlessly soared over the obstacle, landing gracefully on the other side. Clara couldn't help but smile. Shadow was not just a horse. He was her ally. However, their journey wasn't without challenges. Shortly after the jump, they heard distant shouts behind them. Marcus had likely realized Clara was gone and was searching for them. Panic surged through her as she urged Shadow to sprint faster. They zigzagged through dense thickets and around large boulders as Clara steered him away from the sound of pursuit. With every stride, Clara could feel the bond between her and Shadow strengthen. He responded to her every command without question, guiding them through tricky terrains as if he understood the urgency of their situation. As they finally broke free from the trees into an open meadow bathed in sunlight, Clara felt hope swell within her. A clear path lay ahead toward home and safety where Ethan waited. As Clara and Shadow galloped into the village, her heart raced with a mix of fear and joy. The familiar sights of home flooded her with relief, and she urged Shadow forward, eager to reunite with Ethan. The vibrant decorations from her wedding day still hung in the air, but now they felt like a reminder of the chaos that had unfolded. When Clara reached her home, she spotted a group of worried faces gathering near the entrance. Ethan stood at the forefront, his eyes wide with disbelief as he took in the sight of Clara riding in, hair tousled and dress slightly torn from their wild journey. In that moment, all his worry melted away, replaced by a rush of relief and love. "Clara!" he shouted, rushing forward with open arms. As Clara dismounted, she felt a wave of emotion wash over her, and the moment their eyes met, She could see the love and concern etched on his face. She ran into his embrace, tears streaming down her cheeks, as she whispered how much she had missed him. The villagers gathered around, their gasps of surprise turning into joyous cheers as they saw Clara safe and sound. They celebrated her return, wrapping her in hugs and warm words of relief. Clara felt surrounded by love, grateful for every moment she had spent fighting to return to Ethan. The nightmare was behind her, and as they stood together, hands intertwined, they knew they would face whatever came next side by side. After Clara's safe return, an air of tension hung over the village. Ethan felt a mix of relief for Clara's safety and anger towards Marcus. The family gathered to discuss what had happened, and Clara's heart sank as she thought about her husband's brother. She knew they couldn't avoid confronting him. The following day, Ethan gathered his family in the garden, where they had celebrated Clara and his wedding just days before. As they stood together, tension crackled in the air like a storm waiting to break. "We need to talk about Marcus," Ethan said firmly, his face set with determination. Clara took a deep breath and added, "I know he is your brother, but what he did was wrong." The pain in her voice echoed her feelings of betrayal. The family fell silent as they realized the gravity of the situation. Ethan's father spoke first, his tone somber. "Marcus needs help. This isn't who he truly is." The words rang heavy with uncertainty. There was anger among them, but also a flicker of compassion for the troubled brother who had acted out of obsession. As they shared their feelings, hurt from betrayal mingling with concern, the family began to understand that forgiveness didn't mean condoning Marcus's actions. They decided to confront him, not just to seek answers but to encourage him to seek help. In that moment of honesty, Clara felt a shift within the family. Healing could begin only if they faced their challenges together, even when it hurt. In the aftermath of Clara's harrowing experience, the family learned profound lessons about bravery, love, and the importance of their bonds. Clara's courage to escape from Marcus not only saved her, but also revealed the strength of her character and the depth of her love for Ethan. She had faced her fears head-on, demonstrating that true bravery often lies in the decisions we make during our darkest moments. Ethan, too, discovered the power of love in vulnerability. Confronting his brother was not easy, but he realized that even during difficult times, love could guide them toward understanding. The family's willingness to address their feelings of betrayal and anger paved the way for healing. They learned that relationships could be tested, yet those trials also held the potential to strengthen the ties that bind them. As they gathered together in support of Marcus, they embraced compassion alongside their hurt. It became clear that forgiving him would not erase the pain but rather began a journey toward healing for everyone involved. Clara reflected on how these experiences had shaped her view of family. They were not just blood ties, but also a network of support that could weather any storm. Through this ordeal, Clara and Ethan emerged closer than ever, understanding that their love had been fortified by adversity. Their journey highlighted the essential truth that while life may bring challenges, facing them together can lead to deeper connections and a brighter future filled with hope. As the days turned into weeks, Clara and Ethan found themselves embracing a new beginning together, one strengthened by the trials they had faced. The love that had brought them together on their wedding day now served as a sturdy foundation for their future. They spent time talking about their feelings, fears, and hopes, allowing their bond to deepen further through open communication. Clara reflected on her journey and the importance of resilience. She realized that while her kidnapping was a dark chapter in her life, it had also illuminated the strength of her connection with Ethan and their families. They began to cherish every moment together more than before, appreciating the simplicity of shared laughter and quiet evenings. The village, too, began to heal from the chaos. Clara and Ethan invited their friends and family over often, hosting gatherings filled with warmth and joy. They focused on rebuilding trust not only within their relationship but also among the wider community. Marcus's road to recovery was slow, but with support from Clara and Ethan, he started making progress toward understanding his actions. As spring arrived, bringing new blooms to the village, Clara felt a sense of hope enveloping her life. She knew that challenges would still arise, but she also recognized that facing them together would only make them stronger. Hand in hand with Ethan, she looked forward to building a life filled with love, understanding, and unwavering support, a true testament to their journey together.